So, the last thing that I'm going to talk about here is something near and dear to my heart, and that is Arizona football. I'm a University of Arizona Wildcats fan. I started attending the University of Arizona back in 2008. I graduated in 2012. During my time as a fan, as a college student, you know, the Wildcats weren't the greatest team, and nor were they the greatest team in the Pac 10 or anything like that. They weren't going to the Rose Bowl. They went to a bowl game almost every year. But that was a team that was at least competitive. That was a team that, possibly at a certain point in some of those seasons, in at least two of those seasons, Arizona was ranked. And of course, they might have just had Oregon or USC get the better of them, and they just lost. So these kids today who are college students at the U of A, they just don't understand what winning is, or even what winning a game is. It's not even winning, it's winning a game. Arizona hasn't won a single game since the middle of the 2019 college football season. If I could put the last win down, I want to think their last win was against Colorado. I'm not necessarily sure about that. I think it was sometime in mid-October was their last win. I'm not sure who they beat, but I remember them beating Colorado pretty handedly. And the reason why Arizona is so bad this season, they lost in week 1 to BYU, and then they lost to San Diego State. And of course, every Arizona fan remembers the crushing loss to ASU, where the team was out of it after pretty much before they even got on the field. Now, I'm not one of those Arizona fans where I know who all the players are, but I watch all the games. The one thing that I will say about Arizona is the fact that the reason why they stink is because no football player wants to play for Arizona. Okay, because whatever, their athletic program when it comes to football is just in complete disarray. Nobody wants to coach there either, because you look at the last two coaches who were there. They had Kevin Sumlin. He was garbage. Now they have this guy named Jed Fish, or whatever his name is. Good luck with that. I mean, Arizona's just that one school who hired a coach who doesn't really know anything about recruiting. I don't even really know that much about recruiting, but he definitely doesn't. And them thinking, he's just going to be successful. That's just blindness right there from a program. So no one of note wants to coach there, and no one of note wants to play there. So you're getting a lot of kids who are either from Arizona and they probably weren't able to get to ASU, or Arizona's just their safety school, and they're just not able to put a good product on the field. And it is really sad to watch because, again, they weren't winning. They weren't going to the Rose Bowl while I was a college student there. But I imagine that stadium just completely depletes the moment the kickoff happens. The whole program is in complete disarray, and you know what? I don't really know who's going to fix it. When it all comes down to it, Arizona is essentially the Pac-12 version of Kansas, where Kansas might be lucky enough to win a game. We didn't even win a game last year. Arizona plays NAU, Northern Arizona, this week. And that's one of those games where it's supposed to be a gimme, right? Arizona pays NAU so that we could just clobber them. I'm going to be honest here. Arizona could lose that game, and that would just be a huge embarrassment. I didn't get to watch the San Diego State game because they weren't showing it, and I had a few other things to do, but I watched the BYU game, and the one thing that they were trying to do is they were trying to do this 2 quarterback system offense, and yeah, sure that works sometimes, but when you have a team where you're in just so much disarray, find the guy that you like the best and stick with him. And if he doesn't play well and you have garbage time, just put the other guy in. Like, I'm just sick of this, like, oh, this guy has speed, but he doesn't have as great of an arm. But this guy, he's a bit of a statue, but he's got a great arm. I wish they could just do the fusion dance together and just become one player. But it is frustrating to watch this team. And it's very discerning because, they went ahead this season and they decided that they were going to wear those the jerseys that they wore in like the 90s when Teddy Bruschi played before I was ever a fan. The whole Desert Swarm situation, those uniforms, and they're really paying homage to those guys. But the fact of the matter is, like, I don't think those dudes want you wearing those jerseys. Like, they might be like, haha, bear down, rah rah rah. But the fact of the matter is, it's an embarrassment. It's a national embarrassment. And sure, like, we're not one of those teams like Florida State who, like, people like to point and laugh at, or Miami, people like to point and laugh at them. People like to point and laugh at Notre Dame. Sometimes people like to point and laugh at Texas. But Arizona is even just that irrelevant that nobody's even pointing and laughing at them because they know that they're just terrible. And I'm not coming out and saying this as someone who, hates the team, but you look at the product that they're putting on the field, and it's just not a good product. I don't know if anyone wants to buy tickets to that. They're playing worse than the Louisiana Mud Dogs before Bobby Boucher got there. So just the fact of the matter is that it's just not a good product, and it's not something that anyone wants to see on the field. And when they when they showed that BYU game at the Las Vegas stadium, you didn't see any Arizona fans. They didn't show any Arizona, not even pissed off Arizona fans. I think this is just a fan base that's just depleting. Nobody really wants to root for them because they're just that bad. And Jed Fish, I'm gonna give him just as much time as I gave Kevin Sumlin. 3 years to turn the program around, and he wasn't able to do that. Kevin Sumlin was. The person who I blame the most in this situation is Rich Rodriguez. Because while Rich Rodriguez wasn't the best coach, he was the guy who, while I was a fan, kept the team the most competitive. And we won the most games when he was the coach. The most games per year when he was the coach. I saw some really good games. He drove me mad sometimes. But what happened was, he had an affair with a student and he got fired, or like a student trainer or something like that, and he got fired. And then, all of his recruits might not have been compatible with Sumlin, and even he was starting to go downhill. So I don't know who's going to fix Arizona football. I don't know if there is a fix for Arizona football. Again, they might just be in full-time purgatory for the rest of our lives. It's really sad to watch.